Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're talking about the new 2026 Masters of the Universe movie. And I'll be honest, this was the first movie in a long time I was genuinely excited about. But I spent a few days working through my thoughts after I saw this movie because I got a lot to say. Visually, this movie was amazing. It literally looked like He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. But for me, honestly, it was a huge disappointment. And before people twist what I'm saying, the cast was not the problem. I thought everybody that was in the movie did a great job with what they were given. I actually like the actors in this movie. Across the board, I think they did a great job. I did not walk out thinking they ruined this movie. My issue was the script. Because this movie looked like He-Man. The dialogue made it feel like a high-budget parody. And look, this isn't just me saying that. RobertEbert.com said it. The Guardian said it. Variety said it. All pointed out some version of the same issue. That this movie is caught between sincerity and parody. And that rhymed, and I did not mean to do that. That's exactly what I felt like watching this. And this is not just me being blinded by nostalgia either. I'm married to a Filipino. And currently we're in the Philippines. And He-Man is not something she grew up with. She has never heard of it until I told her about it. When she saw the movie with me, she loved it and wondered why I was so disappointed and so upset. So I showed her one episode of the original. And while it was campy to a point because it was the 80s, she saw the contrast immediately. At first, she was surprised it was even a cartoon. But she saw the difference in tone and how the world was treated seriously. And that matters because she has no nostalgia for this at all. She is not comparing this to her childhood. She just saw the difference in how the movie treated it and how the original treated it. So when I say this movie felt like He-Man, but felt like a high budget parody, that's not just me being an old school fan complaining because something changed. The tone is really completely different. And it started with Adam. In the original, Prince Adam acted carefree, irresponsible, and almost lazy at times. But that was an act. That was a disguise. He acted that way because he was hiding the truth. He let people underestimate him because the secret protected the people he loved. But this movie does the opposite. Adam is not pretending to be awkward. He is just awkward. For example, in the opening of the movie, Adam was sent to Earth, which everybody knows, when he was 10 because of an attack. 15 years on Earth have passed, making him about 25. At that point, he had spent most of his life on Earth. So why is he still telling girls on first dates and co-workers and random people that he came from another world and talking about the sword of power? Don't get me wrong, I like swords, but I don't tell everyone I talk to because by now he should know how it sounds. As a displaced prince, he should have learned to blend in, keep his head down, and search for the swords quietly. He should be confident, charismatic, and successful. Instead, they made him a weird office guy who will not stop talking about swords and acts completely crazy like he has no social awareness at all. They did not write Adam as a displaced prince carrying a secret burden. They wrote him as a walking joke. Now, the movie was Adam working in HR on Earth. And honestly, that idea could have worked. Hey, a job is a job, right? A prince raised around leadership, responsibility, and diplomacy could naturally be good at handling conflict. Okay, I can roll with that. But the problem is the movie turns that into his whole personality. Instead of making him calm, capable, and diplomatic, it makes him sound soft and overly corporate. And it gets worse when he returns to Eternia because now he is not in an office anymore. He is back on a war-torn world where Skeletor has been ruling and killing people and destroying lives for 15 years. Eternia is not dealing with a workplace disagreement. It's dealing with tyranny, war, fear, survival. But Adam still talks like he's in an HR meeting. He keeps saying things like, let's discuss this. We need to process this. Maybe we can resolve this without conflict. This could be a seminar. Really? You're at war, dude. Seriously. That does not sound like Prince Adam returning to save Eternia. That sounds like a mandatory sensitivity meeting in training in the middle of a battlefield. And when you are at war, that kind of thinking gets people killed. The problem is not compassion. He-Man should be compassionate. The original show taught morals all the time. Honesty, responsibility, courage, and doing the right thing. But the original did not make He-Man sound weak. A warrior should want peace, but in peace he trains for war because peace has to be protected. That is why Adam's dialogue bothered me so much. And honestly, you can even see in the movie, some of the people in the movie are rolling their eyes at him when he's talking. Like, really? It doesn't make him look compassionate. It makes him look weak, naive, and dangerous to the people depending on him. There's a difference between wanting peace and refusing to face reality. Compassion without courage becomes passivity. Mercy without justice becomes weakness. And peace without strength is just permission for evil to keep going. And I know I've kind of went off in left field a little bit here, but this stuff really bothered me. Let's just take a look at one of the comparisons that they could have done 100% better between Adam and He-Man. Because this is where the original understood the character better than the movie did. In the original, Adam and He-Man were not just separated by muscles. They were separated by voice, appearance, posture, presence, and identity. Let's look at Adam first in the original.
I've never seen so many flyers.
Something must be happening, something big.
You see that? Adam's voice is lighter. He sounds younger, more casual, less commanding. Visually, he looks different too. He has a lighter complexion, a smaller build, and a more relaxed presence. Now watch the transformation and listen to his voice right after the transformation.
By the power of Grayskull! Let's move, Cat.
That's the difference. He-Man does not just look stronger. He sounds stronger. His voice is deeper. His body is bigger. His complexion changes. His posture changes. His whole presence changes. That is why their original worked. Adam had one presence. He-Man had another. The carefree Adam was a disguise. He-Man was the truth underneath, the courage, the strength, the responsibility, and the heroic purpose Adam kept hidden. Now compare that to the 2026 movie.
I know most of you don't remember me, but I know all of you.
Now let's compare that to when after he transforms into He-Man.
Oh, wow.
Visually, yes, he gets bigger. I'll give them that. The transformation looked cool, but the identity shift doesn't happen. He is still Adam, just bigger, stronger, and wearing different clothes. That is not He-Man as a heroic identity. That is Adam with a power upgrade. And the movie makes it worse because it barely treats He-Man like his own identity. Adam still calls himself Adam. Everybody knows he is Adam. Skeletor knows. His allies know. Everybody. Then when the name He-Man finally comes up near the end, it's treated like another joke. Teela asks Adam what he called himself because of the names he gave the others, and he basically says, "You're going to laugh." Then he says, "He-Man." And they kind of snicker, and he says, "What? I was 10. So even the name He-Man gets treated like something the movie is embarrassed by, and that connects to the secret identity problem. In the original, the secret mattered. In the episode Prince Adam No More, which I looked this up, Adam wants to reveal his secret to his father. to gain King Randor's respect. But the sorceress warns him that the secret exists for a reason. If people know who He-Man really is, the people Adam loves are in danger. So the secret identity was not just a cartoon gimmick, it was a sacrifice. But in the movie, everyone knows. And the movie still ends up with Adam running off to transform like the routine still means something. Fisto looks at Duncan and asks if Adam is going to change. Duncan says yes. Fisto basically asks why. Basically, everybody knows. And Ram Man asks if they should just look the other way and pretend. Then Duncan says, just let him do his thing. That is the problem. The movie is not giving the routine a purpose. It is pointing out the old routine and making fun of it. And they did this countless times through the movie. It copied the habit of the original without understanding or caring about the purpose behind it. Another place where the movie felt like a parody was how it handled the classic names. And look, I know some of these names are goofy. The original show was campy as crap, right? Ram Man, Fisto, Mechaneck. Those are old school toy line fantasy names. I get it. I grew up in that generation. I get it. But in the original cartoon, those were their names, and the world treated them as normal. Ram Man basically is a human battering ram. Mechaneck has a mechanical neck. Fisto punches things with a giant metal fist. Trapjaw, one of the bad guys, has a mechanical jaw. The only exception is for one of these names is Man-at-Arms. They call him Man-at-Arms, but his name is Duncan. But Man-at-Arms is a title in the military for his position working for the king. It did not pause so characters could laugh at them. It just treated them as part of Eternia because it was different. But in the movie, Adam calls them Fisto and Ram Man, and they get offended. Teela rolls her eyes, and Adam awkwardly says he knows those aren't their real names, but he was 10, so they're making fun of the source material. Then he explains in a way that sounds inappropriate as I don't know what. Like Fisto fists things and Ram Man rams things. Okay, that sounds inappropriate by a lot for a kid movie. That is making fun of the names and the source material. And here's the problem. The movie never really fixes it. If those are not their real names, then what are their real names? The movie mocks the classic, but it does not replace them with anything better. Then later in the dungeon, and toward the end of the movie, everyone is suddenly fine with the names when the plot needs them to be. That is not character development. That is a cheap excuse to mock the source material and just move the story along. The movie wanted the nostalgia of those names, but did not want to give them the respect they deserved. And here's one character that I mentioned earlier, Duncan, or Man-at-Arms. Idris Elba did a great job as Man-at-Arms. He fit the character 100% at the very beginning. The writing started strong because he was initially felt like Man-at-Arms. And he was training Adam as a kid and training the cadets and was a military leader. But during the attack at the very beginning, he loses to Trapjaw. And immediately, the movie weakens him in the very next scene he's in, when Adam returns to Eternia. And the problem isn't that he lost. Heroes lose. Warriors can fail. The problem is that after he lost, the movie turned him into a drunk for 15 years. Man-at-Arms is supposed to be a seasoned warrior, a mentor, a weapons master, a soldier, an engineer, and father figure type. He represents discipline, competence, and stability. Having him fall apart for 15 years destroys his character. And I'm not saying that a hero can't fall apart for a short period of time. But usually they pick themselves up and they keep moving. That's what soldiers do. And Duncan was supposed to be Adam's mentor. That fits the larger pattern of this movie. And it doesn't just weaken Adam, it weakens the heroic structure around him. Then there was this other person in the movie. I don't know who she was. I can't even remember if they mentioned a name for her. But Adam kept mentioning and pointing out to this one girl in the movie and kept saying she shoved him in the locker as a kid before he got sent to Earth. Okay, but the movie does point out that he was small for his age before he got sent to Earth. Okay, fine. That might explain why he loses at training. That might explain why he would lose at sparring or be outmatched in arms practice. But Adam is not just some random kid. He is the prince of Eternia. He is King Randor's son. If someone beat up the prince during training, that makes sense. Have them embarrass him during weapons practice? That makes sense. That would fit Eternia. So some random person bullying the prince of Eternia does not fit the world at all. It doesn't make any sense. There would be consequences for bullying a prince. Then the movie gets closer to near the end when Skeletor tells Adam he has the power, but he doesn't know how to use it. And Adam says he does, but know, but he was pulling his punches. Okay, that's closer to He-Man. I'll give him that. They got a little closer at the end. And when Adam finally stops pulling his punches, Skeletor suddenly wants to talk, and Adam says, the time for talk is over. That's a lot closer. But by this point in the movie, you're over 2 hours into the movie. It's a little too late. Skeletor has ruled and abused people and terrorized Eternia for 15 years. He is not some guy who made a mistake. He's a tyrant. So after everything is done, Adam still wanted to talk it out. It's hard to watch. He-Man should be merciful, but he shouldn't be naive. There's a difference between compassion and weakness and stupidity or naivete. There's a difference between restraint and refusing to act. A stronger He-Man would say, I gave you a chance to stop. You chose this. That keeps mercy and moral clarity. The movie almost gets there, but spends too much time making Adam sound like he believes evil can be handled with a seminar. And that is really the heart of the issue. The movie looked expensive. It looked like Eternia, but it had the look without the soul. Because it was not because the cast was bad. It was not because the visuals were bad. It was because the script kept undercutting the very things that made He-Man work. It copied the surface of He-Man while removing the logic, the dignity, and heroic purpose behind it. I wanted to love this movie. I really did. This was the first movie in years that I was truly excited about. And visually, I got a lot of what I wanted. Eternia looked alive. The world looked big. The costumes were strong. The cast was great. But He-Man is more than costumes and nostalgia. He-Man is supposed to be heroic, masculine, compassionate. Yes, not neutered. Merciful, not naive. Strong, but also disciplined, confident, and clear. The original cartoon taught morals without making He-Man weak. The movie had the chance to bring that back. Instead, it gave us a visually beautiful movie where Adam sounded like he was running a conflict resolution seminar in the middle of a war. They built Eternia on screen, but the script forgot to believe in it. And if you made it this far, I appreciate it. Because this is how I see it. Maybe you love this movie. Maybe you thought it was fun. And there were parts of it that were decent. I'm not going to lie. The action sequences were pretty good. My wife liked it. A lot of people in the theater seemed to enjoy it. But if you grew up with the original He-Man, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm getting at. I want to know what you thought. Did this feel like He-Man to you? Or did it feel like a big budget parody wearing He-Man's armor? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see y'all in the next one.